Fashion is often celebrated as a vibrant canvas for self-expression, allowing individuals to showcase their personalities and unique styles. However, beneath the surface of this historical institution lies an opaque issue, the perpetuation of gender hegemony. The differences we observe in clothing items and styles across gender identities reflect society's underlying implicit rules about how people of various genders should present themselves. This topic has not been extensively researched, leaving a gap in knowledge that our project aims to fill by exploring the following research questions. First, how do gender, sexuality, and other factors shape the clothing preferences and choices among individuals in Montrose market? Second, what are their perceptions and attitudes towards gender-conforming and non-conforming fashion among Montrose market patrons, and how do they engage with these clothing styles? And third, what role does Montrose market play in the fashion choices and experiences of its patrons, and why do they visit the market? In an effort to illuminate the relationship between gender expression and fashion, we focused our study on Montrose market, an area that is special due to its demographic diversity and its patrons' interest in fashion. Our data collection method incorporated both quantitative and qualitative approaches. At Montrose market, we invited strangers to complete surveys that assessed their clothing choices and the factors influencing these decisions using a Likert scale. The survey concluded by asking respondents if they were interested in participating in a follow-up interview. These in-depth interviews provided an opportunity for participants to reflect on their personal clothing choices and consider these choices in their context of societal norms and expectations. Through this video, we strive to contribute to the ongoing conversation about fashion and gender by first detailing the gender binaries and roles that fashion reinforces. Next, we hope to challenge these gender norms by showcasing atypical fashion styling and introducing innovative ideas about fashion and gender. Additionally, we will examine the role fashion plays within the queer community. By presenting unique perspectives, we aim to encourage viewers to bring their unconscious assumptions about fashion and gender to the surface and rethink their understanding of how fashion and gender intertwine.
The first part of our data collection methods involved conducting surveys to gather quantitative data related to people's clothing choices. Our survey consisted of 4 inquiry sections, each focusing on different aspects of the respondents' fashion preferences. The initial section collected demographic information, including the respondents' gender, age, neighborhood of origin, and sexuality. In the second section, respondents were asked to rate on a Likert scale from 1, extremely unlikely, to 7, extremely likely, how likely they would wear each clothing item specified in the question. The third section followed the same format, but focused on clothing styles such as silhouettes, colors, and patterns. In the fourth section, we shifted our focus to factors that influence respondents' clothing choices, with 1 representing low influence and 7 representing high influence. Some of the factors we asked about include gender expression, social pressure, aesthetic preferences, and ethical concerns. After designing the survey, we generated a QR code and headed to Montrose Market. We approached passerbys in the area and invited them to complete our survey. If they agreed, we would stay with them until they complete the survey before parting ways. We conducted our survey over 2 separate weekends, totaling 55 responses. We utilized Google Sheets to carry out quantitative data analysis. Our analysis compared responses on clothing choices based on groupings of gender, male, female, non-binary, and the membership in the queer community. Queer versus not queer. We defined not queer as individuals who responded not LGBTQ+ in the relevant question from the first section of our survey, while queer included all other responses. After thorough data analysis, these are our results.
Our findings reveal some universally common clothing preferences and factors, as well as some differences based on gender and sexuality. These findings provide an interesting glimpse into the diverse aspects that shape individuals' fashion decisions. Across all demographics, t-shirts, jeans, sneakers, and baggy-fitting tops were found to be incredibly popular. This shift could be attributed to evolving gender norms in the home and workplace environment, as well as shifting definitions of masculine and feminine clothing. When it comes to colors, grayscale, earth tones, neutrals, and muted dark shades were universally favored, while bright and colorful hues were less popular. Self-expression emerged as the most popular factor for clothing choices. Delving into gender-based preferences, we found both queer and non-queer women were most likely to wear traditionally feminine clothing, like dresses, heels, skirts, and blouses, followed by non-binary individuals and then men. For traditionally masculine clothing, men were most likely to wear things like combat boots, button-up long-sleeve shirts, structured suits, and camouflage print, followed by queer women, non-binary individuals, and then non-queer women. It's important to note that non-binary individuals' preferences did not always fall in the middle of male and female preferences. Queerness also plays a role in clothing choices, with queer individuals showing higher engagement in fashion and interest in fashion experimentation. Additionally, compared to non-queer individuals, queer individuals favored combat boots, long-sleeve button-ups, and neon while steering clear of pastels. A notable opposite effect of queerness emerged between queer men and queer women, in which queer men were more likely to wear heels, blouses, and form-fitting bottoms, traditionally feminine items, than queer women. Comparing queer and non-queer women, the queer women were less inclined towards feminine clothing such as dresses, skirts, and form-fitting bottoms. On the other hand, queer men had a relative preference of form-fitting tops, bottoms, and neon colors compared to non-queer men. Now looking at the factors influencing clothing decisions, we discovered patterns related to expression, concerns, and norms. Women were more likely to be influenced by gender expression, and queer men were least influenced by aesthetic preferences. As for ethical concerns, non-binary individuals were the most highly influenced, followed by men and women. In terms of social pressure and economic considerations, queer men and non-binary individuals were more influenced than other groups, with non-queer men being the least influenced. Non-binary individuals were least likely to choose clothing based on gender norms, whereas queer men were most likely. Our survey does have some limitations, such as a lack of statistically significant data, which was normalized at a 95% confidence. The survey may be biased towards women, as they rated all clothing items at an average 4.23, while men and non-binary individuals rated them at 3.07 and 2.53 respectively. Despite these limitations, our findings provide valuable insights into the complex relationship between fashion choices, gender, and sexuality.
We obtained interviewees through sections 5 and 6 of our survey. In section 5, we asked respondents if they would be interested in a follow-up interview. Those who selected yes were directed to section 6, where they provided their contact information. Additionally, we connected with interviewees through Jadir. As an employee at Montrose Market, he was acquainted with some of the market vendors and personally reached out to them to request an interview. In total, we conducted 5 interviews, 2 with ordinary customers and 3 with Montrose Market vendors. Each interview lasted approximately 30 minutes and was recorded to ensure data accuracy. Our interviews adhered to an interview guide, which began with a disclosure statement outlining the purpose of the interview and the interviewee's rights. The interview started with a warm-up question, followed by 3 sets of questions. The first set explored the interviewee's personal attitude towards fashion, asking questions like, how do you choose what to wear on a daily basis? And how do you think your clothing choices are perceived by others? The second set delved into their perception of fashion and gender, with questions such as, can you describe some clothing items or styles that are strongly associated with a specific gender? The third set examined their openness to gender nonconforming fashion, asking, what is your thought process when you see someone wearing gender nonconforming clothing items or styles? And have you ever worn gender nonconforming clothing yourself? We also posed questions specific to those more engaged or interested in fashion, asking them to describe their fashion style and its significance to them in detail. Queer interviewees were asked about their experiences with prejudice or discrimination and how fashion played a role in their experience as a queer person.
After conducting the interviews, we coded the responses and found 4 major themes that stretched across all of our interviews, the first of which covered why people participate in fashion. In Sally's case, who was less interested in fashion, it acted as a way to look nice, and factors such as cost, comfort, weather, and her friends' opinions about how she dressed impacted her own personal style. However, for the participants that showed more interest in it, fashion held a much more personal and nuanced impact on themselves and how they dressed.
But nowadays I kind of just wear what speaks to me. From like being an artist, I just pick things out that I have a connection to and that the art like inspires me to like create stuff in my vision, but like in a new way of thinking.
Yeah.
But it's all just based on like what I like that day, like what graphic speaks to me that day.
Yeah, no, I got it.
I don't know, I think it started probably in middle school. I was like super emo. And then I just started wearing a lot of black, and it hasn't really changed since then. I like a lot of Japanese fashion as well. I've been like into Japanese fashion since elementary school, so that's always been like a really big...
What is it? It's Harajuku?
Yeah, Harajuku fashion.
Harajuku, yeah.
I've written articles for magazines, like online magazines and stuff like that for that. It's like, I collect like magazines of it and like books, and I have like everything. I think clothing is kind of art in and of itself. How you present yourself, how you dress yourself is how you feel on the inside, or how you want to express yourself.
The second major theme we found covered what distinguishes gender-conforming clothing. In general, the answers from the interviews coincided with responses from the survey. However, in the interviews from Dustin and Bunny in particular, both participants noted how the cut and silhouette of a garment played the biggest role in what defined a piece as falling under the category of men's or women's wear.
Positively, I think for the people who aren't used to it, they'll get more used to it, and then they'll eventually stop caring as much. And if people still care, it's like, you know, what are you gonna do? You're not gonna stop people from being like that. I think negatively, you know, we do live in a very conservative state, unfortunately.
The third theme we revealed in our interview findings covered why people wear gender non-conforming clothing. In our context, of the 4 participants that showed the highest interest in fashion, all of them had clothing items that are associated with a gender different than their own. When asked why they do so and their thoughts on gender non-conforming clothing in general, we received many informative and unique responses.
No. I think anybody can really wear whatever they want. Like, especially with like the diversity and like style and identity, I feel like nothing really is closed off to like one gender. So I really think it's just like, I don't know, clothes are something that it's all crashing in. It's all caving in.
Yeah.
Nothing's like off limits. Everything's on the table for everybody.
Can you think of any instances of someone wearing clothing items or styles that don't align with traditional gender expectations?
Oh, like half my friends.
Have your friends?
Yeah, like none of my friends are straight. Like I don't have any. I think I have maybe like 2 straight friends, and that's it. I guess first for myself, like 99% of the time, I kind of dress like a boy. To be honest with you, I wear a lot of masculine clothes.
Building off of this topic, we also asked participants to give us some of the impacts that a person who wears gender non-conforming clothing might encounter. Common themes that we uncovered were that school and work environments were particularly rigid when deviating from fashion norms.
And then, of course, there's always times when, particularly in the workplace, I think that there's a lot of gendered clothing that can be potentially unfair or kind of like spread across, I don't know, for example, working in certain corporate environments or workplaces, you like, hey, men wear this, women wear this, you have to wear that, but, you know, there's like a lot of options for girls. I can do like this, or that, and it's like, guys, it's like, it's this, and that's it, and there is no deviation from that, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. It can be difficult at times, because I'm this gender, whatever, I have to wear these things, or I understand keeping a professional decorum or something, but it can be tough, because it's like, I now have to buy all these, whatever, because the rules are like, nah, I have to wear this because of my gender.
No, I get that, of course.
Women there felt the same, like.
Other responses looked at Texas as being the source of conservative mindsets against gender non-conforming clothing. May experience as a result of wearing gender non-conforming clothing, whether that be positive or negative?
Yeah, I mean, we do live in Texas, so you know, like, I'm sure, particularly if you're queer, like LGBTQIA plus something, wearing some piece that is kind of evident, you know, whatever, proudly, if you will, like you could experience negativity or like guys snickering or like, you know, or saying something to you, or like I've just seen that a lot of times. It's kind of like.
However, not all of the responses were negative. In Love's interview, they talk about the warmth they received from the queer community.
Community space is also made for me.
Yeah. You say like around the right people, it's all love. Can you describe to me like what is the right people?
Queer people.
Mm-hmm.
It's just been consistently that. I just keep finding so much love and community in people that identify with this way. And it's not saying anything against like anybody that doesn't identify that way, but just these spaces, this type of world, the way that it operates just has so much love that it's always made me gravitate back towards it, you know?
After conducting the interviews with market vendors and Montrose visitors, we found that Montrose Market was seen as a welcoming and expressive space. Vendors who played a key role in creating the atmosphere saw the market as an open space where visitors could freely share their interests in fashion and engage in it as an art form.
I like Montrose because there's a lot of like people that are into art and into fashion and just like into like expression.
Additionally, the market was viewed as a safe place for members of the queer community to express their identity. Active visitors appreciated the community's receptiveness, which allowed them to freely express themselves without the limitation of strict gender norms.
In our study, we sought to understand how factors such as gender, sexuality, and Montrose Market shape clothing choices and experiences among individuals. We found that clothing preferences varied across gender and sexuality groups, with some universal favorites and specific preferences among queer and non-queer individuals. Notably, queer individuals displayed higher engagement in fashion experimentation, suggesting that fashion can be a means to challenge traditional gender norms and express one's identity more authentically. Our findings have broader implications for the world of fashion and the evolution of gender norms. Because participants in our study embrace diverse fashion expressions and engage with gender nonconforming styles, this signals a shift in societal expectations around gender and fashion. Additionally, Montrose Market fosters these explorations, playing a key role in shaping fashion trends and attitudes. The role of Montrose Market in our findings cannot be understated. As a space that fosters diversity and encourages unique fashion expressions, it attracts individuals who are more open to gender nonconforming fashion. This openness, in turn, contributes to the market's vibrant atmosphere and encourages patrons to explore and experiment with different styles, pushing the boundaries of traditional gender norms. Our interviews highlighted the importance of fashion as a means of self-expression and personal identity. Fashion choices are not merely aesthetic, they often have deeper implications for one's sense of self and how one navigates societal expectations. The experiences shared by our participants demonstrate that fashion can be a powerful tool for challenging and reshaping gender norms. We also found that participants' fashion choices were influenced by societal and cultural factors, such as their upbringing, exposure to diverse fashion expressions, and interactions with others who share similar values. Montrose Market serves as a hub for these connections, providing a platform for individuals to engage with others who are exploring the boundaries of fashion and gender norms. In conclusion, our study offers valuable insights into the complex relationship between fashion choices, gender, sexuality, and spaces like Montrose Market. By examining these factors and their interplay, we can better understand how people navigate societal expectations surrounding fashion and gender, and how this knowledge can inform the ongoing conversation about fashion's role in challenging or perpetuating gender norms. Our findings emphasize the importance of inclusive spaces that celebrate diversity and encourage unique fashion expressions, paving the way for a more open and accepting society.
As we reach the end of our study on gender, sexuality, and Montrose Market's influence on clothing preferences and choices, we have uncovered some fascinating insights into the dynamic relationship between these factors. We've seen that fashion is not just about aesthetics. It is an important medium for self-expression, identity construction, and challenging societal norms. Our findings revealed the significance of inclusive spaces like Montrose Market in fostering an environment where individuals feel empowered to explore diverse fashion expressions and push the boundaries of traditional gender norms. This market, by offering a wide range of clothing options, serves as a catalyst for conversations around inclusivity, diversity, and acceptance within the fashion industry and society as a whole. Inclusive retail environments are more than just shopping destinations. They provide a platform for individuals to explore their unique identities and find a sense of belonging in a world that often clings to traditional gender norms. The impact of such spaces on the mental well-being of those who have struggled to find acceptance in mainstream fashion outlets should not be underestimated. We must also consider the role of social media and influencers in shaping the discourse around gender, sexuality, and fashion choices. These platforms and personalities have the power to normalize diverse fashion expressions and inspire people to embrace their individual styles. As the Montrose Market example demonstrates, the fusion of online and offline spaces can create a supportive ecosystem for those who defy traditional gender expectations. As people continue to challenge conventional expectations, it's important for society as a whole to evolve in tandem, offering platforms, products, and spaces that cater to the needs and preferences of a diverse population. This will not only create a more inclusive environment, but also enrich our cultural landscape by embracing different perspectives and experiences. And while our study has provided valuable insights into the role of fashion in shaping gender norms and personal identities, it is crucial to acknowledge the limitations of our research. Our sample size and the specific focus on Montrose Market may limit the generalizability of our findings. Future studies could explore the relationship between fashion, gender, and sexuality in different cultural contexts, or investigate the impact of other factors, such as age or socioeconomic status. We hope that this study serves as a stepping stone for further research and sparks conversations around the importance of fashion as a tool for self-expression and empowerment. As we continue to push the boundaries of traditional gender norms and embrace diverse fashion expressions, we can create a more inclusive, open, and accepting society where everyone can use their fashion choices as a channel to express their authentic selves.